Hello there! I'm starting a new series called 3 Drills. With this series, I'm going to highlight 3 shooting drills that I've done with a specific firearm. I'll cover what you need to attempt these drills, and go over how my performance was with the specific firearm in question. For the first video, I thought we should talk about one of the guns that I have shot a lot in the last year, and that is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. Let's talk about the pistol a little bit, and cover the gear that I used for shooting these drills. For the drills I'm about to show you, I shot them using the Bodyguard 2.0 that I've been testing for the last 13 months here on the channel. This gun is mostly stock, albeit that it did have an RMA trip back to Smith & Wesson back in 2024 to fix the feed ramp here, and I did modify my 12-round magazine that came with the gun to actually hold 12 rounds. That was a simple spring thing. I've got a video which you can see here. The gun also has XS R3D sights on top of the pistol, which I have reviewed here on the channel. But aside from Smith & Wesson fixing it, me trimming a spring here, and then new sights on the gun is totally stock. The holster that I used for these drills was the JM Custom Kydex AIWB. I've talked about this holster in previous videos, and anything I mention here that I've already talked about on the channel will be linked down below, but this is the holster that I really like to use with this gun, especially when shooting from appendix. For ammo, I mostly use standard ball ammo, but I also had some of my Hornady XTP American handgunner mixed in there, as I cycle through my carry ammo so it's not always the same ammo in the gun. For my shot timer, I'm using the classic Competition Electronics Pocket Pro 2. I actually bought this one back in 2018, and I have used it a ton. There are newer shot timers with more features, but as long as this one's working, I'm gonna keep using it. The 3 drills that I'll be highlighting are ones that you can shoot from low ready or from the holster. I like to shoot drills from the holster when I can, and that's how you'll see the footage here. Now obviously you can shoot these from low ready, but if you are comfortable in doing this from the holster, I would recommend it. The nice thing with the drills I'm about to show you is that they use fairly common targets. 2 of them use the B8 repair center that you see here, and then the other one uses the 5-inch circle, a fairly common thing. I will have printable versions of these targets linked in the description down below, as you don't have to go out and buy the targets. If you have a simple printer at home, you can print these out. So what's the first drill? For the first drill, I've picked one of my favorites, and it's one that I've already covered in full here on the channel. Drill number 1 is the Vickers test, sometimes called the 10-10-10. The target is the simple B8 repair center, and the drill is pretty simple too. It's 10 rounds at 10 yards in 10 seconds or less on the B8. We use a point scoring system that comes from Ken Hackathorn, which requires 90% scoring or more to pass. For this gun here with 10 rounds in it, that means 90 points or higher to pass this drill. For my run of the test here, I'm fairly happy with the performance. The XS sights leave something to be desired for good accuracy, but they're certainly better than the OEM sights that came on the gun. This drill really forces you to focus in on your grip too, which I think we can all really be improving. What's the next drill? Before we get to the next drill, I want to thank our sponsor for today, you! I could not make these videos without support from all of you who watch and subscribe, and from the financial support of our channel members, channel donors, and Patreon supporters. If you want to financially support the channel, check out the links below. If you do decide to do so, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So what is the next drill? Drill number 2 is one that I really like because it's kind of deceptively hard. It's the Werner 5x5 made by Claude Werner, the tactical professor. This drill may sound easy, but the round count and strings of fire do make it hard. It is 5 rounds at 5 yards on a 5-inch target in 5 seconds or less, 5 times in a row. Doing it for that number of strings of fire certainly makes it harder, and that's one of the things that I really do like about this drill. Go to hits, go to hits. Okay. Now, full disclosure, this drill was not that hard for me. The 5-inch target, to me, is fairly generous at 5 yards. However, needing to shoot the drill 5 times in a row is where the difficulty comes from. I really like getting the 5 draw strokes in for the drill, but there's still plenty of great value in shooting it from low ready. Drill number 3, the next one coming up here, is also one that has multiple strings of fire. Drill number 3 is actually a revolver drill, but I like to use it for small guns like the Bodyguard 2.0 and the Glock 42. This is the hardwired tactical snubby super test, and this drill was made by Daryl Bulkey. This drill is shot on the B8 target and shot at 3 distances with 5 rounds per string of fire. We start off at 10 yards, then move into 5 yards, and then finish at 3 yards. Par times are progressively shorter as the distances close in, with 8-second par time at 10 yards, 5 seconds at 5 yards, and 3.5 seconds at 3 yards. I'm shooting the advanced version, which just means that I'm shooting the drill from the holster. I'll link a full article on this drill down in the description below, as the standard version and the advanced version have more differences than just the holster work. For passing this drill, we have a scoring system with 90% or higher to count as a pass. For me, that means a 135 out of 150 or higher to pass this drill. Let's roll into the footage. The Snubby Super Test is a drill that I really like, and is why I've been shooting it for as long as I have been. It works in some medium and short range shooting, and does have that accuracy standard focus that I really love. In the real world, we aren't allowed to miss, and I like drills that hold you accountable for that accuracy. Now, the par times are fair, and when shooting from the holster, you do have to be fairly quick on the draw to get the hits that you need to pass the drill. Now, what do I think of the Bodyguard as I was shooting these drills? Truthfully, I don't think the Bodyguard is an easy gun to shoot, but it's certainly not a very hard gun to shoot either. I do find that I really have to focus with my grip on the gun, and I think that's due to the width of the frame. This frame is very thin, which is great for concealment, great for carry, but I do find that it does lead to some grip issues for a lot of folks, me included. Now, I've got strong hands, and I've practiced my grip on pistols for a long time, but that doesn't mean that we can't all work on that to get better with it. I've yet to see someone out there who's like, hey, my grip is perfect, I don't need to ever train it ever again. It's always a thing we can be working on. Now, I will say that my scores and times are fairly solid with this pistol. They can certainly come up, but I am happy with where they are right now. I have other guns that are larger, and a lot of folks would say are easier to shoot, but I perform better with this than I do with a lot of larger pistols. I'm also generally shooting this gun better than most double-action revolvers, which is its own thing because those are a different beast entirely. But this is a gun that I feel confident shooting. I really only have one small gun, like a pocket pistol-sized pistol, that I shoot better than the Bodyguard 2.0, and that's the Glock 42. Now, I will say that the Glock 42 is kind of an anomaly, because it is a small gun that shoots like a medium-sized gun. I find that gun to be really easy to shoot, both for me trying it, or for anyone that I've given the gun to. They perform really, really well with it. Now, I don't have any complaints about my JM Custom Kydex AIWB holster for these drills. I think this holster does well for the gun. The little bit of extra length aids in concealment, but I also find that it tends to keep the gun in a more consistent position, which is great for a good, consistent draw stroke, and I have no complaints there. This is the holster that I really like for the gun, and there's a reason why. You can see I've got all this wear on it from hardware on my belt and on my pants. It gets used a lot because I am carrying this gun quite a bit right now. So I'm fairly pleased with the shooting performance of the gun, but did I incur any malfunctions during the drills that you saw here? These 3 drills were shot on 3 separate shooting trips, and I had a whole lot of rounds in between those that I'm not showing right now. Now, for malfunctions, this is going to be a point of contention. Every time that there was ammo in the gun, and I needed the gun to shoot, it shot. However, I have had pretty consistent issues with failure to lock open on empty with this pistol. Now, this might be a thing that people would see and go, oh, it's just your grip, you're riding on the slide release. Well, you're seeing some footage right now. With my 12-round magazines, the gun will be very, very, very intermittent with trying to lock open on empty, even when you're just handling the gun. I do think that the follower is being worn out as part of just shooting this gun a lot, which isn't too surprising when you think it's a $400 fairly cheaply made gun, but it is one of those things that I have noticed in a lot of bodyguards over the last 14 months. So I didn't have any malfunctions in the traditional sense of failure to go into battery or failure to extract, or double feeds or anything like that, but I have had a whole lot of failure to lock open, mostly with the 12-round magazines. I do think that the 10-rounders are sprung fairly aggressively. I mean, all of these are sprung fairly aggressively, but I think the 10-rounders are even more aggressive, and I've had more proper locking open on empty with those magazines than I have anything else. Now, is there anything I want to change on this pistol before I release my full review later this month or possibly next month? Truth be told, I think the only Bodyguard thing I want to do to this is try out the Ameriglow sights that ship on the Performance Center guns. I don't know if those are available to buy separately yet, but I do like that they're lower profile and a little bit less sharp looking, and certainly less expensive than these XS sights. Again, I have that full review on these sights. They're better than the OEM ones, but they are certainly far from perfect. So what did you think of these shooting drills? Let me know in the comments down below. I would recommend giving these a try, regardless of your skill level. If you aren't comfortable shooting these from the holster, then do it from low ready. And if you don't have a shot timer right now, and I know that a lot of folks don't because they are fairly expensive niche pieces of hardware, you can actually use your cell phone as a shot timer. There are plenty of apps out there on both the Google Play Store and on iOS, the App Store, that are shot timer apps. I know I used to use one called Splits way back when I first got into practical pistol shooting, and it worked pretty well to give me a starting beep and then my end part time beep. Again, big thanks to our financial supporters of the channel, and thank you very, very much for watching till the end here. We actually locked open on empty there. Still have good hits on the target. So verify, yep, did chamber. This gun locking open on empty is such an oddity that it's one of those things where it's like, okay, did it actually, like, did I imagine that? Did it actually do that?